What if the Jedi overthrew the Republic? Let's explore the depths of this scenario in this video. It is the dead of night on Coruscant as the Jedi Council gathers for an important but highly secretive meeting, one that could alter the fate of the galaxy. For several weeks, they have been seeing troubling signs that the Sith have infiltrated the very heart of the Republic. The first was when ARC Trooper 5s revealed inhibitor chips planted in all clones. Then Obi-Wan and Anakin learned that the clones were commissioned by Darth Tyrannus, an alias for Count Dooku. For Dooku to have accomplished this, he must have had someone high up in the government helping him. Even the Count had admitted as such when he told Obi-Wan about Darth Sidious on Geonosis. The Council spends hours debating the identity of this mole, with accusations being leveled against Sate Pestage, Amedda, and even Palpatine himself. The meeting continues well into the night. Mace looks around at the rest of the Jedi Council and understands their worry. Their sworn duty was to stop the Sith, but a Dark Lord stands right under their noses, and they can't even figure out where. Even his frustration begins to grow. What if we were to deal with all of them? The Council all turn to him in shock.
Careful, Master Windu. Dangerous waters you are approaching.
I'm not suggesting a coup or anything, but we are trying to figure this out as politicians, when we should be thinking as Jedi. We can force the truth out.
You want us to use mind tricks to try and force a confession? That is problematic. Not only because a Sith Lord may resist such abilities.
No, I'm not suggesting mind tricks. We do have other assets. Mace pulls out a much older report written by Barra Sophie during the Second Battle of Geonosis. In the document, she describes her experiences after she was infected by a parasitic species of brain worms native to the planet. These worms can control a being's body and mind. Padawan Barris mentions how the worm harnessed her memories to their advantage. If we can study them, maybe we can figure out who this Darth Sidious is.
You would suggest forcibly taking control of someone's body. Go against our code, this does.
And what does our code matter if we allow a Sith to take control of our Republic? They will plunge us into chaos and destroy everything we've sought to protect. My fellow council members, the time has come to choose whether we follow our principles or allow all we have fought for to turn to dust around us. A vote is cast to decide the matter, and with a slim majority, most of the council agrees to go through with the plan. A task force is sent to Geonosis to gather samples of these brainworms for study. Like other living things, they can use the Force to control them. The Jedi begin studying and learning to alter the worm's behavior. Instead of making the host obey the will of the Geonosian Queen, it will now obey the Jedi. Once they figure this out, the Jedi begin planting the worms in the homes of Palpatine's inner circle and allow them to take control. The only one who manages to avoid this is Palpatine, who senses the worm's presence and awakens just as the worm plans to enter his mouth. He reaches for his lightsaber and slices it apart, but at that moment, another figure emerges from the darkness, igniting a purple lightsaber. I suspected you were the mole, Chancellor. Now you will tell me everything.
Not a chance, Master Jedi.
He flings his sheets at Mace, who effortlessly slices it apart, but it does buy time for Palpatine to lunge after him. The two cross blades and Mace begins to unleash his attack. Now awake, Palpatine tries to block those attacks, but he struggles to face Mace. He can only defend and dodge as Mace presses forward. While backing away, he hurls his furniture at Mace, who shatters everything in his path. The last thing Palpatine hurls is a sofa, which is too large for Mace to cut, forcing him to dodge around it. This provides Palpatine with an opening to unleash a torrent of lightning. The Jedi Master blocks the attack with his lightsaber and directs it back to the Chancellor, forcing him to halt before he's seriously injured. Mace closes the distance and places a boot on the Chancellor's chest and a lightsaber at his throat.
So, You will arrest me now, Master Windu.
Not quite. You're going to confess to all your crimes. He reaches into his tunic and pulls out a spare brain worm. Palpatine can only watch in horror as the worm begins to slither around his face and work its way into his mouth. A day later, the Jedi Council listens to Palpatine as he reveals everything. Although his mind is too powerful to be probed by the Jedi, the worm is more malleable and can handle most of the work for them, reaching into his memories. Through it, they learn everything that Palpatine has been planning. His true identity as Sidious, turning Dooku to the dark side, and his dealings with the CIS and the Republic leadership. In truth, it's all just the tip of the iceberg, as his confession reveals the true extent of corruption in the Republic. The interrogation from the rest of Palpatine's inner circle only confirms this. But with the confession, the Council now has the evidence it needs to punish all of them and demand the election of a new Chancellor. Yoda suggests that the worms now be destroyed and the prisoners released for trial. However, not all Jedi are in favor of this. Once again, Mace shakes his head. You wish to end this now, after everything we've just learned? The Senate is rotten to the core, and if we dispose of the Chancellor now, all we will do is continue this cycle and allow another madman into power.
Another madman, but not a Sith Lord at least.
Yes, but right now that Sith Lord is under our control. So far the Senate backs him. We have an unprecedented opportunity. Instead, let us keep this matter a secret and use it to our advantage.
Absolutely not. Not a political faction, the Jedi are. Further involve ourselves in politics. We must not.
Master, we're already far too invested in politics. We're leading the Republic's army in a galactic civil war. If we must do so, then we must at least lead a republic we can be proud of. More and more Jedi support Mace's extreme view, including the Council. This leaves only Obi-Wan, Plo Koon, Kit Fisto, and Yoda. The Grand Master realizes there is no way he can do anything without being discovered. Reluctantly, they allow things to proceed. Palpatine is allowed to return to the Senate and serve as a puppet for the Jedi. With his knowledge, dozens of senators were arrested in the first few days, with Palpatine recruiting Jedi as guards to ensure no party tried to rescue them. For many, this is a welcome change, as they see the Chancellor acting on corruption and making a serious effort to improve the lives of the Republic's citizens. However, in reality, it is Mace pulling the strings, using his hold over Palpatine to enforce a new set of standards in the Senate, one built on the Jedi's ideas. However, such a secret cannot be kept forever. In an act of defiance, Obi-Wan and Yoda begin to secretly leak this information to the rest of the Order, in hopes of turning the Order against Mace. This is only partially successful, as some of the idealistic Jedi were shocked to learn the measures Mace took and left the Order. However, others have gotten jaded over years of war and are now looking for any way to end the war and stop the Sith, whatever it takes. Among those displeased with this was Anakin. Although Anakin was happy to see the changes the Jedi brought, he was horrified to hear what Mace did to Palpatine. After the terror that Ahsoka experienced, he could not wish that on anyone. Rather than accept it, he gathers like-minded Jedi to try and end Mace Windu's reign. He knows the weakness of the brainworms is cold temperatures, so Anakin decides to take action in a Senate meeting. Anakin, along with Kit Fisto, Plo Koon, and Obi-Wan, head down to the Senate building's control features and sabotage the temperature control, reversing its function to make the building as cold as possible. Anakin, meanwhile, approaches Palpatine to ensure his brainworm is destroyed. However, when he enters the room, he finds the Chancellor sprawled on the ground with a lightsaber wound through his chest. As he checks on him, the door closes and Mace Windu appears from the shadows with his lightsaber. It appears you've killed the Chancellor. The room seemed to shrink as Anakin ignited his lightsaber, its blue blade humming with barely contained fury. You're twisting the truth, Mace. You've gone too far. With a clash of energy, their lightsabers meet, the room filled with the sound of crackling energy. Mace's strikes were precise and powerful, showing why he was able to beat the Chancellor. Anakin ducked and leaped from each attack, sliding back and countering with powerful blows, fueled by his anger and betrayal. For a moment, this leaves Mace on the back foot.
I did what was necessary. Was I just going to watch as Palpatine dragged the Republic further into the mud?
This isn't the Jedi way.
That's a bold claim coming from you, Skywalker. You've never cared for following our code when it wasn't convenient. Don't think that just because I've ignored your recklessness in the past, I've forgotten it. But now I offer you the chance to rebuild the Republic just as it was intended.
You mean around the Jedi way? The one you tossed aside? Tell me, what makes us so different?
Simple. I ended the reign of the Sith. Suddenly, Mace springs forward, unleashing a series of attacks. This time, it's Anakin's turn to be driven back, as the older Jedi Master toys with him. Each blow that hits, he feels his anger growing. Anakin's strikes grow more erratic, yet forceful. Their blades locked, crackling with intense energy as they struggle against each other. He reminds himself he doesn't need to win, simply hold back until the cooler temperature hits. However, the intensity of the duel keeps the room burning, and Anakin doesn't feel any temperature change. He feared you, Anakin. Feared your potential. Join me. We can rebuild the Jedi Order stronger than ever. For a moment, Anakin hesitated, his mind racing. It was exactly what he wanted. But as he looks at Palpatine's broken form, he shakes his head.
No, Mace. This ends now.
Mace's eyes flashed with a mixture of anger and regret. He pressed his attack with renewed ferocity, but this time there was something different, a dark aura surrounding Mace as he attacks. The blows are powerful, sending furniture flying and shattering windows. You're right there, Skywalker. He lunges at Anakin, who tries to defend himself, but Mace seems more powerful than ever. Throughout the fight, he's been drawing on the dark side that Anakin's been channeling, letting it flow and empower him. He's built on that strength until this moment. As Anakin steps back from the blow, Mace's eyes glow a sickening yellow as he hurls him out the window. Anakin screams as he tumbles into the night sky. He flickers in and out of consciousness, but manages to shake off his daze and soften his fall with the Force. Anakin hits a nearby landing pad with a few bruises, but he only has a second to right himself when someone calls out to him.
Halt!
A squad of clones and Sate commandos immediately surround him. Before they can fire, a burst of force sends the troopers off their feet. Behind them, Obi-Wan and Kit Fisto appear, dragging an injured Plo Koon between them.
Anakin, it was a trap. The temperature controls were protected and triggered the alarm.
Blaster fire pours from behind them as the clones and the Senate Guard open fire, all infected with the same brainworms. What's worse, there are also a handful of Jedi with them. Anakin hurries to his side as he tries to protect them while they take Plo Koon back to their ship. However, the quartet finds themselves cut off as more guards arrive. This is until a green shape leaps out and slices through the first wave of attackers. Yoda glances back at his companions as he shakes his head.
Run! Fly off you must. Buy you time, I will.
Master, no! It's suicide!
Failed the order I have, but at least to prevent its destruction, I can. Now go!
Seeing the conviction in Yoda's eyes, the group heads out as he blocks the relentless barrage of blaster fire. However skilled he is, Yoda is slowly driven back until one unlucky bolt hits him in the chest. Others soon follow, and he drops to the ground. With Yoda gone, and the remaining loyalist Jedi fleeing, it is easy to pin the Jedi for the Chancellor's murder. And with most of the Senate under his control, Mace can get another puppet elected, one who immediately declares the Jedi the official protectors of the Senate. Mace knows that the Jedi rebels are likely regrouping out of his reach, and begins to recruit allies. At the top of his list is Count Dooku and the CIS, as he offers them peace deals. An alliance,
in exchange for hunting down the remaining Jedi. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.